Hey y'all, it's Melissa here at Twin Oaks Family Farm, rural Southeast Ohio, USA. We're back in the meat bird barn. They're 35 days old, so right at 5 weeks. So actually, the next flock that we raise will go to the processor at 5 weeks old. So knowing that, as flock managers here of a small poultry operation, we're kind of letting our mind like fast forward to that group. So okay, so if we were taking these birds to processing today, are we satisfied with the size that they've attained, the finish that they've attained? And for the most part, I would say that I would be. Plus, I think we had some kinks in our feeding system with this group that we now have worked out. So that will help the next group with them going to processing at 5 weeks old. They will have been able to benefit from us working these kinks out of the feeding system. Now this group actually has about another week of production. They're going to the processor at 41 days old, so right at almost 6 weeks old. So they have about a week that they're going to grow. So we already have some very big birds. They're going to fill out a lot more, but we're just in here actually going to take a little bit of a walk through the meat bird barn and wanting the birds to exercise. Now, with that kind of said, y'all, chickens don't sweat. It is warm. I'm definitely sweating, just working outdoors and in the buildings. So they are showing coping mechanisms for heat. They're showing the panting, holding the feathers away from the body. Those are normal coping mechanisms for heat. We filled waters about 5 hours ago, and they've been drinking from the waters, but that's another reason we move them around occasionally. It kind of triggers their memory, like to go get a drink of water instead of just sitting in one place being overly warm, to get up and go get a drink of water so that they feel hydrated and somewhat cooled off, right? The temperature that these birds want to be, so 5 weeks old, Cornish rock cross meat chickens, about 70 degrees Fahrenheit is the warmest that they want it to be, and it's in the 90s, so it's hot. Today's going to be a hot day. It's supposed to cool down a bit after this to like 80, which is still warmer than they want it to be, but that's going to be better than 90. So we're okay. You know, we get them through today. We get them through today safely and without anybody overheating. I think we're going to have a good rest of the week for them. It won't be as hot, but this exercise in the broilers, moving them around their living quarters, is pretty important. We feel it's pretty important. We want them to continually be kind of strengthening their legs, because as you can see, you know, some of them are good size. They're fairly large for the size of their legs and for their stature. Their bodies get fairly large because they're converting feed to meat. They're meat birds. So we need the legs to stay super, super strong so that they can bear their weight, okay? And so they have plenty of room in their pen. I mean, you can see like there's floor space. There's plenty of floor space. Naturally, though, any environment has kind of like microclimates. So I'm sure there's pockets of their living space that tend to be more comfortable than other pockets, and that's where the birds gravitate to. And of course, we have box fans set up because it's hot. But when you set box fans up, you basically create microclimates where a lot of birds want to be in that space where the air is blowing off of that fan, right? So, you know, we kind of have to watch that. So there's times, probably when you see our videos, there's probably times that a space looks crowded, but that's really a misrepresentation because you're not always getting to see the whole pen. Like, for example, I'm gonna move the camera in front of a fan. So like, if all you saw of the meat bird pen was this area right here, you would assume that these birds don't have adequate space and that they're overcrowded, but that's simply not true, because as you get the bigger picture, look at how much floor space is actually available. It's just that they all want to be right there in front of that fan. So same thing back here. And that's why I'm going to take a walk back here and try to gradually move some of these birds that are sitting away from me. And I'm going to try to like kind of split the middle so that they don't all try to jam in the same direction. But, you know, if you have a pastured poultry set up, you're probably moving chicken tractors around on a daily basis. Or you have birds outdoors that might move from one part of the paddock or pen to another part, okay? So they're getting exercise that way. But when you raise birds inside a building, one of the ways, so we want to just get these birds to come away from that for right now. So if you're raising birds in a building, in a confinement system, one of the ways we can make sure that our birds get some exercise is to encourage them to walk around, okay? And that's good for them. That's like strength training in their legs, all right? So now, that being said though, it is a warm day, so we don't want to overstress them. So I've basically made a few loops through where they live. I've observed that all the birds are able and willing to get up, because as we're moving the group, I'm watching individuals. So I've observed that all the birds are willing and able to get up, that they're moving well, that I'm not seeing any birds that need specific intervention at this moment. So that's the purpose, part of the purpose of exercising them is to have them move around, have them bear their weight, and to evaluate them, okay? So that's why we do that. But there's 426 of them, and let's see, this is July 16th, 2024, and they go to and they're 35 days old, we've told you that, and they go to the processor on July 22nd, 2024. They're going to be 41 days old at that point. So, and that's a great production length for Cornish rock cross meat chickens. That's our personal preference, is right at 6 weeks. But honestly, what we're learning is most of the time we can finish them in 5 weeks. So like this group of birds, like I said previously, it would have been reasonable to have a 5-week production schedule and have them go into processing today. But we set all that up way in advance. So our birds aren't going to processing until July 22nd. So Monday, the next Monday coming up, and this is a Tuesday. So we'll definitely be ready. They're at the finish stage, and we'll be ready to have them go into the processor. So we've got all the feeders full, so there's a lot of feed capacity in here. My husband and sons filled all of these feeders. There's probably 15 or 16 of them that have about a 40-pound capacity each. They filled them all last night. And so we're going to let the birds eat all of these down, and it'll take them several days. And then we actually have 5 bags of feed, 250 pounds of feed left after they eat everything that's in the pen right now. And we anticipate them eating all of it. So they'll finish what's in the feeders, plus another 250 pounds. They will have eaten 4,000 pounds of feed, start to finish, for 400 birds. But they're panting and showing the coping mechanisms for heat because it's a hot day outside. It's about 20 degrees hotter outside than they want it to be. But like I said, we're seeing the forecast is showing today's a hot day, then it's going to cool off a bit. And if they can make it through today, they're going to make it through the rest of the week just fine. So we're looking forward to getting this group to processing. If you have any questions about raising Cornish rock cross meat chickens that we can answer for you, put them in comments. We're happy to do that. And we offer memberships on our channel, so I'll put a link in the comments that should be active, where you could find out about our membership categories and join right there. And there may be a join button beside the video title. There should be. So we have members only videos and shorts that we include in those memberships, and it helps support our farm operation and farm work here. So y'all eat real good food and support local farmers wherever local is for you.